77 proportions and percents. What you're going to be able to do today is use proportions to find missing parts, any whole, and percents. That's what you can do today. You're going to be able to create proportions to solve for an unknown. And how we're going to do that is part to whole. So this is the main form of a proportion you will use. The part is to whole as percent is to 100. And if you think about how we usually do percents, we're talking about a part is to whole. Notice that a percent is part of 100. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
So if you get 93%, it's like you got 93 right out of 100. Okay, so that it's like part is to part as part, or no, just kidding, part is to whole as part is to whole. It's the same thing. But you just have to know that the percent that you're given is part of 100. Okay. The trick here, they're all word problems. It's trying to identify, are you given the part or are you given the whole? You got 73% on your most recent exam that had 45 questions. How many questions did we get right? So you got 73% on your most recent test. My test had 45 questions. How many did I get right? Here's what I always know. I make my little skeleton. I know it's going to be, I know 100 is going to be on the bottom right. I also reflect on this, and I know it should be part is to whole as percent is to 100. And now I just fill in the blanks. I got 73%. That's a percent, so I'm going to put it over 100, right? On your most recent exam that had 45 questions, is that my whole exam or part of my exam? The whole exam, so it goes on the bottom. And so I'm trying to find the part. Of course, assuming that you know how to solve, I'm just going to go 45 times 73 divided by 100, and I got like 32.9.
32.95.
Right, but I'll say 9. I'll round to the nearest 10. 32.9 right. Okay, the next one, you got 33 right on an exam and received a score of 77%. How many points was the exam worth? How many questions was on the test? So again, my first strategy is I always make my initial proportion and then fill in the blanks. I know it should be part is to whole as percent is to 100. I got 32 right on the exam. If I got 33 right, is that part of the test or the whole test? It's part of the test. I got part of the test because I didn't get a perfect score, so I got parts of it. And received a score of 77%, so 77 goes on the top right. How many questions were on my test? So I'm looking for that whole. You're going to go 33 times 100 divided by 77 is 42.9 again. Now that doesn't seem logical, right? Like how do you have a half a question? That's just the numbers I happened to pick when I made this lesson, so I didn't double check my words, so that's my bad. But it's the process we're looking for. 125 students decided to go on a field trip. This was 35% of the school's student body. How many students are at that school? So again, I make my little skeleton. I know it should be part is to whole as percent is to 100. And now I just start filling in the blanks. 125 students went on a field trip. Is that the whole school went on the field trip or part of the school? Part of the school went on the field trip. This was 35% of the student body. So 35 goes on the percent part. I'm looking for how many kids were at the school. I'm looking for the whole student population. So x equals 125 times 100 divided by 35 is 357.1 kids. Whatever. Again, it's the process, not the logical answer.
It's a foot.
Yeah, yeah, someone's foot just came loose.
That's scary.
That would be scary. 48 states have their own flag. What percent of the states do not have their own flag? So if 48% have it, how many don't? Thomas? Okay, but if 48 states have it, then 2 states don't, right? And some of you could go 2 divided by 50 if you wanted to get that percent, but you can use a proportion, right? So part is to whole as percent is to 100. So 2 states is part of the United States, is to the whole 50 states. And I want to know what percent. So you can go 2 times 100 divided by 50, which is 4%, like Thomas said. I personally wouldn't have came up with a proportion for this. My personal strategy, I would have said 2 out of the 50 don't, and then I would just go 2 divided by 50 in my calculator, and I get 0.04, which is 4%. So you could use proportion strategy or just normal converting strategy, whatever you like best. Okay?